Welcome back to Rolando Estacado. My name is Rolando, and for today's episode, we're going to do a little bit of recap of the Blade Show, but more specifically how I decided to approach the Blade Show this year. I had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with some of the makers there, some of the buoy makers like Ricardo Villar and also Ryan Lewis. I also had a chance to check out some of the production companies. I had a chance to take a look at Winkler Tomahawks, RMJ Tomahawks, Zombie Tools, among others. And I had a chance to handle some of their tools. I had a chance, the amazing opportunity to move around with Jason Knight's kukris, which are absolutely beautiful. But what I want to be able to share with you here are some of my first impressions of these fantastic tools so that you have a better sense of what I'm looking for. It can inform you when it comes to what decisions you have to make as it relates to these tools. Full transparency, these were items that I had a chance to move with. They allowed me to move with it, and I'm happy to share with you my first impression. And all across the board, these tools are A+ in my book. I will say also that my personal preferences here is really going to be based on my own expertise, my own understanding of how certain tools work. So if I end up offering something that's like, well, this isn't for me, it may very well be something for you. So have an open mind when I provide this piece of feedback for you. Some of it is going to be comparative, but I think it's something that you'll enjoy and find very informative. So thank you for letting me share this. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this video. This is our second annual Blade Show, and I think this is better than the other one, far busier, and we made a lot of new friends. First table we went to is Jason Knights, who's a fantastic knife maker, and he brought with him his wonderful custom-made kukris. Take a look at those handles and take a look at those blade profiles. They're absolutely exquisite, really super light, and what amazing fighting blades they are. But they are real works of art, because if you just feast your eyes on them, look at that fuller in the middle of the blade, which makes it really light. They're so good, you're going to want to look at them again. So I rewinded a little bit, feast your eyes on it again, because Jason Knight's kukris are absolutely world class. I had the opportunity to handle them. I didn't want to move with them so much, only because there were so many people. We had just gotten there, but I can't wait to handle them again. One of these days I'll own one. Then I moved on over to Zombie Tools. I am a Zombie Tools client. I have their Sharkalope, and here I am working with their buoy, which is called the Felon. The Felon is absolutely great, and it has this cousin over here, and that one is the one at the top called the Belmont. So the buoy at the bottom is the Felon, and the buoy at the top is the Belmont, which is the lighter version of it. So the Belmont has this very nice recurve. That's Clay from Zombie Tools, and he's very, very informative and very, very friendly. And he allowed me to move with it and film with it. And what makes it really light and balanced is that super nice recurve there. And that balance makes it a little fall more forward a little bit more and move around a little faster as a result of it. But wow, what a quick fighter that Belmont is. I love that. And that recurve makes it super aggressive, super fast in the hand. But if I were to choose between one or the other, for sentimental reasons, I'm going to pick the Felon, because the Felon is very reminiscent of the resin buoy, which is the buoy that Jim Bowie apparently used when he fought at the Vidalia sandbar fight. Absolutely great. And this one's a little heftier, I'd say a little beefier, but wow, it moves really fast for such a beefy blade. Then, of course, I move on to the legendary Winkler booth, where they make the legendary Winkler Sayok R&Ds. Of course, what we have here are what I believe the Blue Ridge knives and the Contingency knives. Those are great. I had a chance to take a look at them, but I had to handle the superb R&D Winkler Compact first with the front spike, and you see me moving with them. It's really lively in the hand, but it moves in a way that I've never handled with another weapon or tool before. But you see how fast that tool is? And that's real craftsmanship right there from a true master. Then I move on to the full size. The full size is really exquisite to move with, and I can see why U.S. Special Forces teams prefer this particular tool because it's absolutely wonderful. I got really lucky in that I did acquire both of them, not at the show, but I ended up acquiring both of them, so I'll be making a video of them very soon. I then moved on to Bastinelli's table. And clearly, I have Tomahawk on the brain, and he has this wonderful Tomahawk here with a flared handle, so it's a little more distal taper, so it really fits in the hand in a very different and customized way. Moves really well, works as a great edge weapon and also a fist load. I highly recommend it. It's really, really super nice. And then from here, after enjoying it, I do move on to meet my new friend, Tomas Alas of Tactical Tavern. Holy smokes! We did it! How are you doing? Oh, this is my girlfriend, Robin.
I'm told to take videos.
It's just the box. It's just the box. It's like it's speaking to you. It's okay to put it. Yeah, you want to be that on. Yeah, I know. I know. Dude, the way that it moves in his hand, it's a whole other game. That's more sound too. It's like a shotgun. Yes.
Tomas and I had been mutual admirers of each other's work, and after meeting, we head on over to Doug Markaida's booth. He took the time to introduce me to him. Kuya Doug and I had actually met the year prior, but we had a chance to meet up. Robin got into the photo op as well, but we had to take advantage of a conversation regarding Filipino martial arts, which is a great passion for all three of us. So I asked a question of Kuya Doug as it relates to Filipino martial arts and Sinawali. And he had a really great opinion about how Sinawali actually pervades all curriculums of Filipino martial arts. And here he applies the deeper aspects of Sinawali into the karambit. And note how the karambit hand, one with the blade, works in sync with the checking hand, and he's going through the nuances of it in terms of not just the mindset but also the thought process. He was so generous with his time. There were so many people at his booth who wanted to spend time with him, talk to him, and sign autographs, but here he took the time to really show how Sinawali works out of the karambit here from the outside line, but here on the inside line with the payong hubad application. And here he's showing me all of these beautiful intricacies. Then he decides to show me that the karambit in this context works as an ocular tracking distraction and how I get hit in the back of the head. Tomas tries to take advantage of it by elbowing me in the face, which I thought was really funny. But here he demos it so that the left hand actually slaps the back of the head when the karambit goes ahead and tries to finish. It was really phenomenal. Take a look at how Kuya Doug just loves to show his work in terms of the skill so that I can mirror it. He was so generous with his time. I'm so grateful to him for doing this because, like I mentioned, he's a very busy man with a very busy booth with so many people literally just lining up to take photo ops and autographs, and he took the time to spend with me. Thank you, Kuya Doug. Then I got to spend time with the absolutely phenomenal Ricardo Villar, who made this fantastic out of this world Damascus buoy with that exceptional coffin handle and S-guard. He allowed me to take pictures of it, take a look at it, and what a way to meet somebody, because he talked me through not just the design aspects but also the martial applications, which really surprised me that he knew so much about the martial applications of the Bowie knife. Really surprising, because you don't necessarily run into that all the time. So here I am holding it. We got to talking about it, and of course I had to move with it. That's the real test. And oh my gosh, look at my face. That is the face of a Bowie practitioner who meets with a Bowie that he really likes. First, if I really like it, I got to put him through the test. And just wow, the balance, the lightness of it. It has a very different feel from my Bagwells. And just to show you just how generous Ricardo is, but how thought out his process is, he's showing me how the handle design is such so that he also took advantage of this whole other curriculum. He showed his knowledge of the edge up curriculum. And his knowledge of that was really interesting, because for him to design the knife so that it could do both, that's very rare. I've never really run into it before. And he demonstrates how some of those techniques is something he took into consideration when he built out this knife. Really fantastic thought process. And he is one of the amazing Brazilian Bowie knife makers, and he's the one who leads it, I think, in many ways. And he shows how the S-guard, if I took my index finger, actually helps align the blade better in an edge-up orientation on a thrust. That's how his thought process is, and I thought that made him amazing. Look at how that aligns. Look at how beautiful and how carefully thought out this blade is. And I was just so grateful to him for it, and just decided to, my gosh, just hand it off. But of course, Tomas had to share this with me. Look at his face. He knows I'm going to love this. And I had to move with it. And it is this beautiful Bowie knife, so classic, so beautiful. And it is really from the more classical mode. It's a little bit shorter. I believe it's about 9.5 inches, but it is beautiful Damascus Bowie in the classical vein. Take a look at that ricasso. That's really, really super nice. The stag handle, nice and circular, gorgeous. And take a look at that false edge. But that false edge has a chisel grind. And that chisel grind makes it so that, one, it's easier to sharpen, but also, number two, much more of an effective slicer. And it's just beautiful to move with, and I can't wait to show it to you when I move with it. Yeah, you can see it in my face right here. I can't wait to just move with it, because I felt at one with both of his knives. Here it feels like I am moving through the air with absolute ease. The Bowie just wants to move with me, just wants to move through the air. I'm showing Tomas here how I like to flow with the Bowie knife, but just wow, I couldn't believe how well this Bowie knife moved in the hand. And I'm not surprised, because Ricardo seems like he has a pretty good knowledge of what Bowie combatives is in terms of its historical context and how it applies to the making of Bowie knives. Here I'm showing back cuts, reversos, inquartada, thrusts, and snap cuts. So I'm very grateful to Ricardo for spending time with me on it. And you can see, how happy he is that I appreciate his work. He shows me a little bit more about how that chisel grind on the false edge, he shows it off, and he shows how really, even as a chopper and a slicer, it's really optimized for it. And I love that he took this kind of time with me. After that, Tomas had to kind of test drive the back cut, so I wanted to show him some of the mechanics of it. He's just a sponge. He just wanted to learn everything. He's amazing that way. So before you know it, he's back cutting me, he's moving with it. But he is such a good martial artist, because when you see him move, he knows how to incorporate both arm movement and ultimately hip movement. So he figured that out really fast. After that, we moved on over to Wicked Edge, where we got to meet Knife Junkie podcast creator there, and he was really friendly and nice. And we got a chance to talk a little bit with Tomas. There it is, my Sabenza, and he did me this solid of actually sharpening my Sabenza on that Wicked Edge sharpening kit. And he took so much time educating me on it that before you knew it, a crowd had come around, and he's really took the time to beautify and sharpen my Sabenza, which actually I use on a daily basis. He noticed it, and he said, you know what, we're going to give your Sabenza a lot of TLC here, and look at the concentration, look at the care that he applied to it, and he was just so happy to do it. And while I was there, one of my subscribers, Isaiah, came by. I found out that he was an Illustrissimo practitioner. Thank you, Isaiah, for coming to find me, and I'm glad I was able to share some techniques with you. Then I moved on to RMJ Tactical, where they decided to share with me a Beagler Ginunting. And this Ginunting, as you can see, moves really fast. So this is from Beagler Blade Works. One of the RMJ guys, he decided to purchase one, and he showed it to me, and I had to move around with it. And that was really something that he decided to share it with me. And this is a really super light ginunting. Wow, that one is really nice, really fast. Thank you, Ryan, for this, because that's a really, really great find. And thank you for letting me move with your ginunting. And now, this is a ginunting from, I believe it was gifted to Ben from Jerry Hossam. Not Ben, Ed. So it was gifted to Ed by Jerry Hossam. I believe so. And this one is traditional. And here I'm talking to them how the Beagler has a more neutral balance, but a traditional ginunting likes to fall forward. And now when you move with it, some of that falling forward action dictates how I like to move. So it's a little bit different. Afterwards, I got to visit my friend Jerry Hom, who in my opinion is top of class in terms of Balisongs. I tell you, one of these days I'm going to purchase one of his Balisongs because it is the absolute, in my opinion, Rolls Royce of Balisongs. It was so good to see you, Jerry. And then I got to find Melissa Backwoods, aka Melissa Miller, and I had to find her. Say, hey, I got a pocket check. So she ended up pocket checking my traditional Filipino Balisong made from Batangas by Louis Almazan. And she got to handle it, and she said, oh my God, that's really super heavy and hefty. That's just how they're made in Batangas. And I'm glad that she included me in her channel. It was a bit of a long day, but she still had that kind of positive, welcoming energy. It was really nice to meet you. I ended up subscribing. And here I got to meet Dave and Ken at their booth, and really super friendly guys. Here we are talking buoys, talking about Bill Bagwell, and they allowed me to move with the very rare Bill Bagwell there at Blade Show. And my gosh, what a find that was, because here I am moving with him, and he and I just clicked. Not just me and the blade, but also Dave and Ken, who were really phenomenal. And they had this beautiful knife case there of Randall's. Look at that Smithsonian buoy with that mammoth handle. Super gorgeous. And it's another love of mine, Randall knives. And this is a bit of a close-up of the Bagwell buoy. I had no intentions of getting it at all. It was so rare, so beautiful, but really I had no intentions of getting it. It was, of course, I was surprised a little bit later. I'll tell you how that story goes. But take a look at that beautiful Bill Bagwell buoy, which is really rare. You don't necessarily find it in his catalog of works. He focused so much on the Hell's Bell that this one absolutely just stands out. It's a real, true work of art from the master, the late master himself. I miss him, and it's good to see that his work kind of showed up here at Blade Show, and I was able to handle him. Look at how beautiful he is. He's just a true masterwork. And look at that grip. Just look at how ergonomic and customized it is. And as you can see, I'm very happy walking around with him. Then I got to meet Ryan Lewis. I believe he was a contestant at Forged in Fire, and I got to handle one of his really super light, super fast fighters. This is a buoy fighter that has a Hamon aesthetic to it, which I love. And that Hamon aesthetic was achieved because he was able to make it with 3 types of steels. Very hard to do, but by achieving this, he was able to put together this beautiful piece of work. Take a look at that Hamon. Take a look at that back, the spine of the buoy knife, which allows for a little bit of spacer so that it can allow for power assists, where I can assist with push cuts with my hand or with my forearm. And that really works as far as knife practice is concerned for close quarter combat. I thought it was really beautiful, really super fast. Comes with this wonderful sheath. Look at the artistry of it. It almost looks like ocean waves, which is very similar to the Hamon that's on the blade. He was gracious enough to let me move with it. And wow, I tell you, that is a very, very fast fighter. It's a very fast buoy fighter by Ryan Lewis, and he was super gracious as well. Has a fighting background as well, so I'm not surprised that it moved that way. Then we moved on to the Balisong competition. We covered it last year, and boy, it was still raring and going, and it's Robin's favorite event. She had to go. We both had to go. It was really good to see the event, well attended, and a lot of participation here. So much athleticism with this kind of work, and they are working with live blades. They made that very clear at the event that if you're going to participate, it has to be a live blade. And take a look at more of this athleticism. This participant here, this competitor, his left hand is in his pocket. He's so nonchalant about the whole thing. It was really beautiful to behold how so many competitors, are so passionate about it, and they spend so much time perfecting their art. It's a really wonderful sport, and I hope it continues to grow. And then I headed back to the RMJ booth. I had to go visit them again, and they allowed me to move with the Eagle Talon, which I absolutely love. Take a look at this. I really enjoy moving with it because it is just so fast and so light, so well designed. A true fighting Tomahawk. I hope one day to be the proud owner of one because it is really super beautiful. Really, really well constructed. A true fighting Tomahawk. I head back, and my girlfriend said, "Hey, I won this knife," and I really didn't believe her. And I said, "Wow, what's actually going on here? How did you win this knife?" And then it hit me, "Oh my God, you didn't really do that." So she told me that my younger brother and her decided to surprise me with, of all things, and I'm kind of caught up with some emotion here because they decided to gift me with the Bill Bagwell knife that I was moving with earlier. And it was great because it was kind of like the late master had come back to life and had given me this knife so that I can learn from him once again. This has really been a lesson in connecting with all types of people, connecting with people in new people, and reconnecting with masters, and reconnecting with all kinds of people who share this passion in terms of blade work, knife work. In many ways, it's a great way to feel connected with yourself. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for letting me share my Blade Show 2024 recap. Stick around, stay tuned, more videos to come.